All right, so section 8.2 is a lot shorter than the last one, but it's actually broken up into 2 different days because I'm going to teach these two separately. So these are all about the 2 types of special right triangles. And the one we're talking about in this day 1 video is the 45-45-90 triangle. So what I mean by 45-45-90 is that it is a right triangle with 2 45-degree angles. So if you remember from our last, actually let me draw it like this. So if you have 2 angles that are the same, that means that it is going to be an isosceles triangle. So that means that the 2 sides are the same. So for this one, I'm going to do like the most basic one and make these 1. Okay, those sides are 1. So let's figure out what C is. So if because the hypotenuse is C, and so this will be A and this will be B. So I would have 1 squared plus 1 squared equals C squared. So then let's see, we would have 1 squared is 1. So that would be 2 equals C squared. So take the square root. So C equals the square root of 2. Okay. Now let's do another one. So you'll see the pattern. This will be the last one. So if I have another one, just pretend those are 45-degree angles. And let's say this time these are 4. There's your right angle. Oh, it's an ugly right angle. Okay, so again, this will be our C. So I'll call this A, that B. So we'll do 4 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. Right, 4 squared is 16. So 16 plus 16 equals C squared. And that would give you 32 equals C squared. All right, so then you're going to take the square root. And you can't take that square root evenly, so we have to break it up. So 32 breaks up into 16 times 2. I know that because I just added them together twice. So this becomes 4 square roots of 2. So C equals 4 square roots of 2. So if this is now, let me erase this. I'm going to put 4 square roots of 2. So what do you notice about these numbers? Well, they're the same. And this number right here is just the same as those leg lengths, except it's multiplied by the square root of 2. Same thing that happened up here. We had 1 and 1. And then for the hypotenuse, it was just 1 times the square root of 2, which is the square root of 2, which is what our formula is. So that's what this formula says. And I'm going to change, I want you to change these in your book or on your notes. I want you to change all these S's to X. I think that helps you guys see it a little bit better. So you have your leg lengths, if it's a 45-45-degree, 45-45-90 triangle, your leg lengths are the same, and the hypotenuse is just the leg lengths times the square root of 2. Okay, so what is the value of each variable? Well, we have a 45-45-90, so that means this leg over here would have to be 9. And then the hypotenuse is just the leg lengths times the square root of 2. So H is 9 times the square root of 2. Pretty fun shortcut, right? If you forget this, you can always use the Pythagorean theorem or sometimes use the Pythagorean theorem. But this is, if you memorize it, it makes your life way easier. Okay, let's do another one. So this one's a little bit different. They give you the leg length, but it has a square root in it. Don't freak out. So we know this leg length up here is going to be 2 square roots of 2, and we're trying to find the hypotenuse. So just like we did here on this one, we did the leg length times the square root of 2. We're going to do the same thing. So we have the leg length. In this case, it's 2 square root of 2. But don't forget to times it by the square root of 2. Okay, and now we're going to multiply our square roots. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. So we're going to have 2 times 2, so x equals 4. All right, we're going to skip letters, or the next one, that one, because it's the next day's notes. But let's do this one, finding the leg length, find the length of the leg. So now we're trying to find the leg instead of the hypotenuse. So when we were finding the hypotenuse, we times it by square root of 2. This time we're going to have to divide. So it's going to be 6 divided by the square root of 2. So that would be, you can't have your square root in the denominator. So that'll be the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. We need to rationalize it, times it by that. So on top, that gives me 6 square roots of 2 over the bottom. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. All right, and now let's simplify our fraction. 6 and 2 reduce to 3 and 1. So your final answer is x equals 3 square roots of 2. Okay. Now, high school softball diamond is a square. The distance from base to base is 60 feet to the nearest foot. How far does a catcher throw the ball from home plate to second base? So if you'll notice, this is a square. I told you that. So all of these sides on the outside are going to be 60. Okay. Now, I want you to look at this triangle right here. And it is a right triangle because this is a square, so that's going to be a right angle. So now, if it's 60 and 60, that would mean that's an isosceles triangle, and since it's a right triangle, it's got to be 45, 45, okay? So we're going to look for the hypotenuse. Well, the hypotenuse is the leg length times square root of 2. So that's your answer, but they want it in the nearest foot. So you just type it in your calculator, 60 times the square root of 2, and that's going to give you approximately 85 feet. Okay? All right, and that is it for day 1. Hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great rest of your day.